We live in an age when fewer and fewer subjects are unmentionable. The internet and social media lead people to think that anything goes, with obvious risks to the well-being of young or vulnerable people. But in other respects, the end of old taboos has been a positive development. My father's generation could not bring themselves to utter the word cancer, for example. And when somebody came to the end of their life, they were said to have passed on or slipped away. They never died. The daily statistics of those who have died in the COVID-19 pandemic have brought the fact of death into the thoughts of all of us, whether expressed as daily statistics or personal awareness much nearer home. Of all believers, we Christians ought to be best placed not only to mention death, but to remind ourselves what the Christian faith has to say about it. The French writer Antoine de Saint-Exupéry wrote some words which seem especially relevant just now. There is in sickness a grace which brings us near to realities which lie beyond death. I discovered those words just before facing an operation for cancer, the first of 3 in fact, some 15 years ago. They spoke exactly to my condition and helped to strengthen my wavering faith at a critical time. I came to think of the mystery of death as rather like the mystery of birth. An unborn child knows nothing of the larger and fuller life into which it is later born. In the same way, we can know nothing of the larger life into which we will enter through what the prayer book calls the grave and gate of death. Christians believe that the resurrection of Jesus Christ is the fountain of hope for something better and fuller, as promised by Jesus himself. Christians celebrate this especially, of course, at Easter, but as Archbishop Michael Ramsey said, every Sunday is really a little Easter. We cannot know exactly what happened on the first Easter Sunday, but we do have the evidence of changed lives, how men and women who'd been in total despair on Good Friday afternoon set out to change the world by keeping alive the teachings that Jesus had given them and the practical compassion he had shown during his life on earth. Even as lockdown restrictions are being lifted, for now at any rate, many people are experiencing sorrow, sickness, uncertainty about the future. These are similar feelings, I suppose, to those felt by the disciples of Jesus at the foot of the cross. It is in those darkest moments that Christians believe the risen Christ enters our minds, our homes, wherever we may be, and says to us, "In the world you will have trouble, but courage, the victory is mine. I have conquered the world." We can't be certain about the details of the realities which lie beyond death. But as we face unforeseen challenges and uncertainty about the future, we can take to heart these words from the Catholic writer Gerard Hughes. The power of Christ's resurrection gives us hope in a situation where before we felt it was hopeless. Gives us courage to face a task when before we wanted to run away. Gives us the ability and strength to be open and vulnerable when before we could think of nothing but our own protection and security. Thanks be to God.